smoking, the school's closed, the prison's open.
That's fun.
We got nothing to lose, everybody we rolling.
You know why I like the book so much? It reminded me of my story. Growing up, I got to tell you something about me. A lot of you get to, we know each other, right? Even though we are not hanging out, we're friends. You kind of know what our life looks like, and over a long enough timeline, you kind of get to know what's in somebody's spirit. But when I grew up, I was like always an outsider, always kind of, wasn't the popular kid in school. I was kind of an invisible student, okay athlete. But what people didn't know about me is there was an ambition inside of me that never expressed itself in formal education. Didn't quite have the physical tools to do what I wanted to do in sport, but there was an ambition there. And I'm grateful to my parents. My parents were just amazing in believing in me when I didn't believe in myself, and in encouraging me. My first mentors were my parents. And the path from having the seed of ambition to reality is, I think that's the longest journey in life. That gap between formal education, where they give you all of this structure, and finding it. You're going through the school, you're doing all this stuff. And I'll never forget, my parents were amazing, they were great. And my dad went to a high school reunion, and he met this guy by the name of John Joyce. John, they'd gone to high school together, many years prior. They reconnected, and they decided to go into business together. They got into the real estate business. John was very successful. Insurance. He came from an insurance background, residual income background. Back in the days when insurance had much more residual income than it does today. And John took a liking to me. He was my friend. And he just, every time he was around, he's a millionaire, right? One of the first millionaires that I ever really had a conversation with. And every time I was around, he would notice me, and he would, "How you doing, kid?" And he would ask for my opinions on things. And I remember my parents were heavily involved in the church, and they had a church in downtown Minneapolis, and they had some extra real estate connected to the church. And I remember one day, I said to John, "John, there's this extra real estate thing. What if we start like a suntan a suntanning business right here, and I'll run it?" I'm like 18. And he said, my dad was like, "Oh, bad idea." And John was like, no, let's let the kid have a shot. Okay, cool. So we started this little thing called Ultra Bronze, which was a tanning business. I'm paying for it now with the dermatologist, believe me. But we started this little thing. And John was a mentor and a friend. And he was the first person outside of my family that believed in me. And I didn't take it for granted. Every breakfast I was digging in, trying to pull some advice out of him, like Alex did with Larry King or with Quincy Jones. How does this work? How does that work? And John and my dad, I ended up working for them in real estate. And John was the one that came to my desk and said, "My friend Charlie wants us to come take a look at something." So I went and looked at the network marketing opportunity for the very first time. And when I was walking out the door, I heard John say to the group of people, "Do you see that kid? That kid's going to do better than all of us combined." His belief in me was such a gift. Amazing. My family had to love me. My family had to believe in me. But John didn't. So I get involved in network marketing, right? And that started me. Now, I will tell you, in all love for John, he was a millionaire and he was successful in life, but I quickly outgrew him in network marketing. And that didn't change our friendship, but he was going to do things a certain way and I had bigger ambitions, and that was fine. John, to his passing a year ago, still after his passing, he's earning over $250,000 residual income in network marketing for his family. Okay, so John did fine. Pretty cool, right? His kids and grandkids are taken care of for a very long time. They don't have to worry about paying the bills. They're taken care of because of network marketing. But then I get involved in this profession. And I'm hungry, the passion. Again, I'm trying to find a solution. And let me give you something for your notes. There is no faster path to success than a mentor. There is no faster path. It's literally a time machine. Finding someone who has wisdom that you don't possess yet. Finding someone who has a key to a solution that you haven't solved yet. And if you spend some time with them, they can shorten your learning curve. The most expensive thing in the world is wasted time. Think about this. If you could solve a problem in 3 days instead of 5 years, what's the impact in your life for the rest of your life? You've gained 5 years. And that isn't just those 5 years. It compounds on the value over the course of your life. The earlier you start with the solutions that you find, the more it compounds into the future. So the greatest thief is ignorance and pride. And I've got this. And I don't need to do that. And I'm not willing. And whatever. Why did I get in the car and drive to Detroit, Michigan, to sleep in my car, sit in the lobby, when I had no money? I did because if I hung around with Mr. Jeff Roberti for 4 days, I was going to get something. I was going to win. And I was looking around, where's all the other people waiting to hang out with him? And I was the only one. Everybody else couldn't be bothered. Everybody else said, I don't have the money. Everybody else said, I don't have the time. Everybody else said, I don't want to bother him. Everybody else had a million reasons why not to do it. I was driving a piece of crap automobile that leaked gas and gave me a headache every time I drove it. I drove it 12 hours, this miserable AMC Spirit. I hated that car. If I didn't need the $400 to sell that car, I would have shot it full of holes just for the satisfaction. I hated it so much. A nice car shouldn't matter, but boy, it's nice. Come on. They say after you drive a car for a few days, it's just another car. Not true. Not true. There's some cars, yeah. There's some cars that are special every time you get in. They got the suicide doors. It's special. It just is. I'm telling you. So, I drive to hang out with Jeff Roberti. In the beginning, I'm waiting for wisdom to fall. And wisdom doesn't fall like that. Guess what you need? Awareness. Right? Nobody else, even his team, wasn't listening like I was listening. Wasn't watching like I was watching. I'll give you an example. He did like 3 or 4 events every day. And you know what I saw him do? At every presentation, he found one person, and somebody that had fire in their eyes. And come here for a second. And after the meeting, he would grab that person and he would say, come here, come here. What's your name?
Albert.
Albert. And he would take Albert away from the group and let everybody do the talking. And he'd take him down the hall and he'd say, Albert, listen to me. I look for talent for a living. I look for people who have the ability to provide huge value to the world. People with ambition, people with drive, people with power, people with leadership ability, and I see it in you. If you decide to do something here, I would look forward to working with you. I think the two of us together could do something amazing. What do you say?
I'm in.
I'm in. Now listen to me. Jeff told me later that he did that every presentation to someone. And he said it doesn't even matter if they're excited or not. He said, I'll show you the next presentation. And give Albert a big round of applause. Thanks, Albert.
Appreciate it.
He said, I'll prove it to you the next presentation. And he's doing a presentation, and there's the most sour person you've ever seen. He's just no movement, no reaction, no nothing. No involvement. Yes, exactly. Just And sure enough, Jeff goes to that guy. He's putting on his coat. He's headed for the door. And he says, excuse me, sir, before you leave, can I have a moment? And he pulls the guy aside. And he says, I know the game that you play to everybody else, the big tough guy, you know, all the critical, cynical stuff. But I also know that there's a dream inside of you, and I see it. And I think together we could do something amazing. If you're willing to show the world the other side of yourself that you've been hiding for however long it's been. And the guy literally just went, how did you see that? He said, I'm in. Let's go. Let's do this. I was like, what?
Impressive.
What's the lesson? It's not to trick somebody. It's everybody has a dream. He wouldn't be there if there wasn't a dream. So just that one idea, every time you have a gathering, single somebody out, pull them aside, look them in the eye, tell them that you see greatness inside of them. No matter what happens with everybody else, you at least got one person that's going to join the team, and they'll be grateful for your belief in them. That's what happened with John Joyce. That's what happened when I learned this lesson from Jeff. I learned 1,000,000 lessons from him over the course of those 4 days. That's just one that stood out that I used for 30 years. Pulling somebody out. I didn't pull Albert out by accident. I pulled him out because he does have that spark. I've seen it for 2 days. There was a top earner in my company, superstar, business guy, corporate guy. And he was breaking all the records. He wasn't in my upline. He was in the company, though. Everybody wanted some time with him. You know what I did? I found a way to get it. You know how it started? He was coming to my town to do a presentation for one of the company's regional events. So you know what I did? I arranged to pick him up at the airport. I found out the things that he liked. I found out the snacks that he liked. I found out what he liked to drink. All of that was in the car. It wasn't my car. I borrowed somebody else's. I welcomed him. I was in baggage. I picked up the bag before he had a chance to do it. I carried the bag to the car. This was not arranged by the company. Why? Because I could get a few minutes in the car with one of the most successful guys I knew. So, took him to the car. I said, hey, it's my pleasure. I happen to work with the organization locally, and it's really great pleasure to meet you. I made a point to meet you because I really admire what you do. And I didn't say much, kept it quiet. I let him start doing the talking. And then when we got to the hotel, I took the stuff in. I didn't just drop him off. I took the stuff in. I waited. I helped him take the stuff. I said, you don't need a bellman. I'll take it to the room. No problem. And then the next day, I was there early for the presentation. I stayed late. I helped out. Why? Because I could get a little bit of time. And when he left town, I sent him a card that said, one of my goals is to work with you at some point in the future. I want to just learn from you. If there's ever an opportunity that I can serve, please let me know. And I sent him the card. And that impressed him. He called me up. Eventually, we started doing some things together and it turned into a whole bunch of different growth and excitement over the course of the coming years. But why? Because I knew that if I got around wisdom, I was going to win. I've had so many mentors over the course of my life. Sam Georges is one of my current mentors. I pay Sam a small fortune just to be available to talk. He gets paid huge money just to be available to talk. Why? He was Tony Robbins' CEO for 22 years. Took me 2 years to convince him, because he's retired. Took me 2 years to convince Sam to mentor me and Marina. He finally agreed. Worth every penny. Why? I'm learning from other people's mistakes. I'm shortening my learning curve. I'm becoming more influential. I'm becoming more powerful. I'm reaching the world in a greater way. In Tony's experience, do you think that they maybe made some mistakes that I could learn from? Of course. I want to have a big influence. I want to have a big impact. I want to get better. He's helping me get better. I surround myself. Marina and I spend, how much do we spend a year, babe? On mentors, coaches, courses, wisdom, over $500,000. Over $500,000 a year just on learning. Why? Because we want to have a greater influence on the world. The network marketing profession is not where it needs to be. We need to take it to another level. With your help, we're going to do that. But over $500,000 a year. Why? Because I only have so much time. And let me give you a secret. You only have so much time too. I'm going to be 55 in 3 months. Double nickels. Whether you're 35, 25, 45, or 85, we're here to make a difference. We're here to make an impact. And you have a choice to get the most out of each year or to just let another year go by. It's so easy to have a lost year. A lost day turns into a lost week. A lost week turns into a lost month. And without even looking, boom, it's January again. Bang, it's another birthday. Faster and faster and faster and faster. You don't have that much time. You need to put some urgency in what you can do. I will tell you one thing, you can accomplish a lot. You can't even imagine how much you can accomplish in 5 years if you focus. It's unbelievable what you can accomplish in 5 years. 10 years ago, GoPro did not even exist. Network Marketing Pro was not even a thought 10 years ago. What's happened since then? What's happened to our profession? What's happened to the professionalism? What's happened to your growth? What can happen in 5 years or 10 years? If you will make the decision. Now, sometimes it's getting crafty, finding a way, solving the problem. Sometimes it's spending the money. What's more expensive, money or time? Time is the most expensive thing. If you could spend some money and shorten your learning curve, you have to. Even if there's just a chance that the spending of the money will give you a return, just a chance, you have to be really, really bad not to get at least some return from that investment. I'm not afraid of the investment. I started with $1,000 a year budget on me. Because guess what? You're the engine that drives everything. $1,000 invested in me. And then it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. And you got to decide what you want to do. In order for you to go to where you need to go. How big is your ambition? How much do you want? What do you want? How many people do you want to help? It's inside of you. You have to unlock it. Find the mentors. Find the coaches. Find the programs. Right? Find the environment that's going to support that. Are you with me? How many people are with me? It changed everything. I've had probably, and I've got to tell you one more thing about mentors. Some of my biggest mentors I never met. Elon Musk is currently one of my mentors. He doesn't know it. But he's one of my mentors. I'm learning from how he thinks and how he solves problems. I soak it all up. Jim Rohn, long before I met him and we became friends, he was one of my mentors. I listened to his programs over and over. He was like my friend in the car. I hope like I'm your friend, listening and traveling around doing what you're doing, your friend in the profession, same way. So many of these people, Tony Robbins, before he was a friend, he was a mentor. He never even knew it. I told him, guess what? You're a mentor. Oh, really? Oh, cool. High five. Huge hands. It's like the high five, your hand just goes, boop. It's like banana fingers, man. It's like, come on. It's a big dude. Him and Magic could wrestle. So, I want you to make a commitment to you, whatever that looks like. And part of it is just opening yourself up to opportunity. When the opportunity shows up that you can grow from, learn to say yes. Right. Say yes and then figure it out. When opportunity shows, you can say, you know what? I could get something from that. Say yes and then figure it out. Now, I do want to talk a little about some of the leadership aspects. And then I want to talk about some measurements of an influencer. But the first thing, can I talk about some politically sensitive issues? Can I talk about some things that might hurt some people's feelings? How many people want to be an influencer in network marketing? Say aye. There are some things that you can do to make that happen, and there are other things that you can do that will destroy your influence. I call them the 10 deadly sins of network marketing. And before I start, I have a confession to make. I have committed most of them. Not all of them, and I'm not going to tell you which ones. But I've committed most of them. If you're around long enough, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. When I started off, my ambition, my hunger, sometimes made me step over the line. That hunger dragged me into places. You know what's really a dangerous phrase? Whatever it takes. There are some things that are not worth it. There are some things that will damage you and your reputation, your heart and your soul, and you didn't even know it. So be careful with whatever it takes. Be careful where the hunger pulls you. When there's a line, you know the line. Be careful you don't step over. And if you do, like I have, be smart enough to step back. And then to be patient enough to own your decisions, and also own the damage of relationship that you might have created from those decisions. And in love and in patience, wait with service and change of your behavior for your reputation and your relationships to heal. Some people step over the line, they really hurt people, they step back, and then they expect everybody to be okay if they just say they're sorry. And that sorry is the beginning. It's sorry and then show that you're sorry over a long enough period of time, and then forgiveness can really show up. Okay? People might forgive, but they're not going to forget. So I'm going to give you these 10 deadly sins, and I just want you to think about this as an influencer, use this as a roadmap for yourself and also a roadmap for your team, because when these things show up, they will destroy influence. They will destroy your ability to lead. They will destroy your capacity to make a difference in people's lives. So, number one, overinflating your income, your product, lying. You got a check 1 month and it was an awesome check, and from then on, even though your income fell down, you tell the world that that's what you're making. You qualify at a certain level in your company and you got the PIN, and you haven't qualified at that level for 3 years. But you still got the ego about the PIN. Everybody knows that you're not qualified there. There's no secrets in network marketing. Are you kidding me? Everybody knows when you lie. Everybody knows when you stretch the truth on your income. Everybody knows when you lie about your rank. Everybody knows. It's just bad. It's so much better for you to be patient enough, because I understand it. You start in and we're leveling up and we're leveling up and we're ranking up and we're leveling up. And isn't this exciting? We're leveling up. Nobody wants to level down or even admit it. And the lie is from commission, saying it, and the lie is from omission, not correcting people. You get introduced as the $1 million earner and you're not. You need to say, no, I've touched that before, but nothing's permanent. I'm rebuilding. I'm at this level now. It's okay. It's better. The whole world knows. Just tell the truth. Truth will set you free, and there are no secrets. Don't think that there are. I understand. I came from a world that was super hype. In my first year, 1 month, I made $18,000. Big promotion, big thing. Guess how much I said I made for forever? $18,000 a month. I got the check to prove it. There's months after that, there were 2,000. I didn't talk about those months. Everybody knew. So that's number one. Number two, being a bully. There's a difference between being strong and being rude. There's a difference between being an influencer and being a tyrant. There's a difference between respecting and enforcing your culture and being a bully. There are a lot of bullies in network marketing. Out of their own insecurity, that's where bullying comes from. Out of their own inadequacies, out of their own ego, they push people around in a million different ways. They bully people because they have influence with the company and they put somebody else down. They bully people in their downline. They bully people in their upline. They bully people with their PIN. They bully people with their check. They bully people with their special relationship they have with some decision maker. They bully people all the time. The bullying, I will tell you, some people do it because it was done to them. They bullied me, so now it's my turn. They can kiss my toes, They can say uncle. It will destroy your influence over time. Be aware that the bully side is incredibly dangerous. Number 3, talking negatively. And this is not just, people love to say negative upline, positive downline. Go talk to your upline negative and talk to your company negative. Oh yeah, like the upline and company love that. There's part of some people need significance by being the bearer of bad news. That's how they get their significance. So they go to the upline and they whine and complain about stuff. You know, a company CEO, you want to wreck his life? You want to wreck his weekend? Send a nasty email on a Friday. This poor guy will think about it all weekend. It'll wreck his whole weekend. The whole company will know about it. The following week, what do we do? And you'll be, even though he's going to look for the truth in whatever it is that you're saying, you'll be, in a quiet way, put in a separate category of the troublesome, the challenging. Even if it's subconscious. Now, you want to make his life? For no reason and no agenda, just send a thank you on a Friday. And tell him 10 reasons why you're grateful to the company. That'll get sent to every department inside the company. It'll be put up on the wall. It'll be cause for commendation. That's what's going to happen over and over and over again. You want to make his life? Do that. Be a giver of positivity. They already know the negative. And if you bring positive long enough, then you've earned the voice. So when they say, what's really going on? You can give them, well, shipping is this and customer service is that, but I love you. You'll earn a voice to be able to do that. Negativity is it's a disease if you're not careful. Pretty soon, gossip turns into backbiting, turns into judgmental, turns into cynical, turns into a negative spiral within the organization. Then everybody starts competing, see who can be the most negative. Oh, you think that's a negative story? Let me tell you a story. They compete to see who can do better. I've got a worse story than yours. My product didn't show up for 4 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Next. Inconsistency. This is the thief of your growth. It's the thief of your influence. Biggest challenge I had for my entire career was inconsistency. I'd be white hot after an event like this. I'd go like crazy in a campaign, and then I'd disappear for 2 months. Then I'd go hard again, and then I'd disappear again. Then I'd go like crazy, and then I'd disappear. And my team lost faith in me that I was going to be there. You need a baseline of consistency. Let me ask you a question. If I asked you to divide your days into 3 different categories. Category number 1 is a productive day for your business. Productive. You got something done. You moved the ball forward. You made something happen. A productive day. Okay? Number 2 is a support day. Maybe you're supporting your team, right? But moving it forward, but you weren't necessarily recruiting or anything like that. You were just supporting, like at your event. It's a support day. And 3rd is a lost day. Lost. The day started and you lost it. It disappeared on you. If you're honest, in the last 365 days, how many lost days have you had? Honestly. It's a big number. Big number. Way more than your job. Right? So that's where inconsistency shows up. You need a baseline of activity every day. You need a baseline of communication with your team every day. You need a baseline that people can count on and get some security from, because inconsistency creates insecurity within the group, and insecurity causes people to take less action. Next, deadly sin. Spending more than you make. Creating desperate situations. This will destroy you. You get the car before you can afford it. You get the crazy watch before you can afford it. You buy the crazy house thinking the house is going to recruit for you, whatever it happens to be. And what ends up happening from this is it puts you in a desperate situation. You start having to compromise your ideals. You start having to compromise your time. You build a lie. You're telling people about financial freedom and you got all kinds of debt. You're telling people about financial freedom and you haven't paid your taxes. You're telling people about financial freedom and you're behind to the world. And you're saying, no, that doesn't happen. Oh, really? Let me tell you about my $1 million earning friends that are behind on their taxes. It starts when you're at the very beginning of your network marketing career, and if it's not corrected, it will continue. And it's not worth the stress, and it will be stress. And it's not worth the lie talking about financial freedom, and you haven't cleared up your student loans. Talking about financial freedom, and you go crazy with your credit cards. Talking about financial freedom, and all you do is keep putting in extensions on your taxes. Come on. Get it in control. And if you're in a hole right now, let me give you some advice. If anybody in a financial hole, I'm not going to ask you that, but if you are, it's okay. We've all been there. All of us. I don't even trust somebody that's never been in a hole. I just don't. If somebody hasn't had everything fall apart on them at some point, I don't trust you. Seriously. You don't know adversity. So, if you find yourself in a hole, rule number 1, stop digging. I'm in a hole, but I want to have a nice Christmas, so I'm going to load up these fresh credit cards. I'm in a hole. If you're in a hole, stop digging. And here's how you stop. Let me give you some advice. I've been through this. I've been through financial Armageddon a couple times in my life. Get your financial footprint as small as possible. You don't have to have the fancier car. Sell that and get a smaller car. Or a less expensive car. You don't have to have that much square footage in your house. Sell the house, get a smaller house. And if you can't get you just sell the house and rent for a while. Whatever you need to do, get your financial footprint small enough that you can take care of all those other things and move forward with your life. If you're working, how many people have a job outside of network marketing? Let me give you the strongest advice. You won't listen to me, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Don't spend your network marketing money. Not a penny. Not a penny. Don't spend any of it on lifestyle. Let your paycheck from your job take care of your bills, and let your network marketing money be what creates your freedom. Use every penny to pay off your bills. Use every penny to put into investments. Use every penny to create a financial footprint that you can build on without having to have stress. Every penny. You don't need it now anyway. You got a job. You know what I mean? You know what the new status symbol is today? Debt-free. Debt-free. Not owe anybody anything. That's so much cooler than a fancy car. Depends on the car, but no, I'm just kidding. It is. Being free is the key. All right, next please. Stealing distributors. This happens all the time. This is one I will admit to. My ambition, my anger, my competition caused me to make some mistakes. Somebody shows up at your meeting. You're doing a meeting in your regional, in your area. Somebody shows up and they say, my sponsor's from Zimbabwe. Or the person that told me to come to this event is from Zimbabwe. And, hi Zimbabwe. How are you? Nice to see you. Say hi to Zimbabwe. I was trying to be obscure. And they just say, would you support me if I sign up with my sponsor? Because I haven't signed up yet. Sometimes it's hard to go, oh, they're so far away. It's your decision. You could decide to go with there, and of course we'd support you. But if you were on the team, we could support you more, probably. But, go ahead and do your thing over there and lose money if you want.
If you only knew the power
right.
of the dark side.
It's ugly. It's ugly. I've done it. I've had people come to my meeting, and because I was on stage early on, they came and say, I'm not signing up with the person that invited me. There's no chance. It's never happening. I'll tell them to their face. I'm not doing it. I need to be involved with the most powerful person in the area. You seem to be it, so I want to sign up with you. I'm like, really? Well, you told them, right? Yeah, I told them. And there's no way you're ever going to sign with them, right? Yeah, not going to do it. Well, I guess I don't have a choice. Regretted it instantly. Some took a little longer to regret, but regret was always there. It happens in so many forms. It happens in that form. It happens from organization to organization. Here's the rule for network marketing. Never take a person from another company that's happy and do anything in your power to make them unhappy. Never take a person to plant a seed of doubt in somebody else. Oh, you're with that company. Never dog another company. Never talk negatively in that direction. Never take a person that's happy and make them unhappy. People switch from time to time. That's okay. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, right? It happens. But don't accelerate it. Don't encourage it. Don't target it. Don't be a predator. It's not worth it. It's not worth the reputation. It also happens inside of your own company. You build a great friendship with somebody. We're cross-line. Can you imagine how much we would do together if we worked in the same organization? This would be just amazing. Do you have a brother or a sister or an aunt? We could sign up your aunt under me. You could kind of help your aunt. Build a business and let yours kind of fade, and then we could work together. And then that one just sits out for 6 months. You could even resign that other one, sit out for 6 months, and then come on over and join me free and clear. We followed company policy. Yeah, you did, but you didn't really follow company integrity. I'm not being judgmental to any of you. Like I told you, I've done most of these. I'm trying to save you the pain of sacrificing. It's like in Harry Potter when Voldemort killed somebody, he lost a little piece of his soul, it got all divided up. That's what happens when you do these things. A little piece of your soul gets, divided up. It does, I'm telling you, it gets wounded. It gets wounded. It takes time to heal. And the healing comes from changing your behavior. Owning up to your mistakes. We all make mistakes. I'm not giving you fire and brimstone. I'm giving you compassion and foresight so you don't make the same mistakes. Next, please. Sleeping around. I told you. I get it. I get it. You come to this conference, you come to some conference, and maybe things aren't great at home. Or maybe you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, but you have a pin. And that pin makes you cute. So somebody else extends some courtesy to you. Somebody else extends an invitation to you. And hey, why not? We'll see what happens. Nobody will know. Everybody will be very discreet. Nobody will find out. We'll be real, Here's what I'm going to tell you. Number one, everyone will know. Within minutes of it concluding. Woohoo! And I'm not saying you can't find love. I found love in network marketing. I found the love of my life at a network marketing event. But there's a difference between that and acting out. There's a difference between that and being a player. There's a difference between that. There's a difference between that and being promiscuous. You know what I mean? You can get a reputation pretty quick. If you got a different boyfriend, girlfriend every convention, there's an issue. Now, in the age of Me Too, in the age of people feeling like power is being used, power can be used in our world too. People with influence, people with high ranks, people who are on the stage. Some people want to get close to that, and some people will abuse that relationship, have their own little groupies. Some people will look out in the crowd and look for the cutest one, send their friend to say, hey, come, go, we're going to meet in the lounge. They'll do that stuff, I'm telling you. And it will hurt your reputation badly. If you're going to act out, I'm not trying to preach to you, but if you're going to act out, just don't do it inside your group, for crying out loud. Because if it doesn't work, why do you think they have rules against men and women dating in the workplace? Because if the breakup happens, what happens to the workplace? Now, unless you're sure, unless you're confident, unless it's the one, unless you're being a real, responsible, incredible gentleman or gentlewoman, and if it doesn't work out, you can create the softest landing possible over a reasonable period of time in love so it doesn't create drama in the workplace, then fine. But that's pretty rare. People get their feelings hurt. And usually, guess what the feelings happen when somebody's a player? Guess where the feelings get hurt and the breakup happens? Somebody keeps playing. They cheat on the one they're cheating with in the first place. They double cheat. So, in your organization, if you're single, that's one thing. It's just a reputational issue. And it's a business issue. You will hurt production. You will create distraction. You will create drama. I'm not saying love can't be found, but be cautious in that. Don't show it to the world until you know. Now, if you're married, it's worse. I'm talking to the ladies just as much as the guys. Some of you at home are in miserable situations and somebody extends some affection and it's very, very difficult for somebody positive and exciting not to be attractive to somebody else positive and exciting when they have a negative situation at home. I get it. I understand. But just know that if that's your situation, you need to do what you need to do at home in order to be able to move forward. If it's broken, then you need to deal with that before you start anything else. Some people get caught up in the ego. They become a player. And when they become a player, they lose their influence. They become a punchline. They become something to kind of roll their eyes at. They lose their respect. Next. The public addict. I understand that people have challenges. I understand that people they abuse drugs, they abuse alcohol. I get it. All kinds of addiction is real in the world. And I have compassion for people who are addicted, because there are some people that are genetically predisposed and some people who have been so hurt that it is their mask to be able to try to cope in the world. I'm not judging that. But I am saying this. If you wouldn't get drunk on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. at your company office, you probably shouldn't get drunk at the convention. If you want to have a drink and you're okay, and it's not something that's going to be difficult to you, I'm not judging you on that. What I would tell you is, if you ever get sloppy, you only have to get sloppy one time before you lose respect. Now, we could take it to the extreme. You could see the leader sleeping on the couch in the hallway in the hotel at 4 a.m. Oh, look at my leader on the floor. Takes all kinds of different forms. There's prescription challenges, and there's illegal substances, and there's alcohol and all that stuff. All I'm telling you, I've never really struggled with this personally. I have family members who have. Some can, some can't with that type of stuff. I'm just telling you, keep it away from your business. Keep it away from your business. Be strict about it. You will never see me drunk at an event. If you see me, I might have a glass of wine that I will nurse for the entire party. Most of the time you'll see me with a bottle of water or Coke or something. Not that kind of Coke. That's private. No, just kidding. Just kidding. So just be careful with this stuff. And when it shows up in your organization, and it will, the best defense is a fast offense. You cannot allow somebody to keep showing up drunk at your company functions. You cannot allow it. You got to let them know. And in leadership, we know how to address an issue and how to escalate it. Same thing with somebody sleeping around. A leader starts sleeping around in your group. The first moment, you don't wait until everybody's talking about it. The first moment, you talk to them about it, and you escalate the issue until it's resolved. Same thing with somebody stealing. You address it immediately, and you escalate it until it's resolved. You either have standards or you don't. As an influencer, you want to be a person of influence? You got to be willing to be unpopular when you're challenging bad behavior from time to time. And it will continue to happen in your organization, okay? All right. Next. Demanding the stage. The ego of me. The disease of me. It's all about me. Join me, follow me. If you go too aggressive on me, now I understand some of you are amazing. It's hard not to take the stage because you can kill it. But if you demand all the stage, here's what's going to happen. Number one, you'll build resentment within your organization. People will resent you over time, even if you're great. Number two, you will chase away all of your good people. Everybody that had a chance to be a great influencer on your team will leave. Because if they don't get any oxygen, if they don't get any sunlight, they'll go find it someplace else. You know why some people leave and go join another company? Because they were tired of living under you when it's all about you, and you never got any recognition, you never got any stage time, you never got any sunlight, you never got any love. So, yeah, I get the shortest path is for you to just do it. If it needs to be done, I'll just do it. But don't get stuck there. You got to be looking inside your team to find somebody who can be an influencer and then give them some sunlight. They go, oh. And you don't even know. You put them up on stage for a minute and you just bought 6 more months. You put them up and they do part of the training, you bought another year. You build influence within the organization by giving oxygen and sunlight to people with potential. And you temper your ego with your abilities. Okay? All right, next. The success coma. It's very common. People make a little bit of a paycheck and they just go into a coma. They stop working, they stop building, they stop doing what got them there in the first place. Nobody can accuse them of not building a business. They show up at the events. They're taking selfies. They're signing autographs. They're kissing babies. They're doing what needs to be done in order to make, show up at the team, be the team person. Maybe they even host a little reception at the convention, but they're not doing what got them there in the first place, and they know it. And they don't quite know why, because there's this disconnect in leadership. There's this disconnect because you're like, we're told do for 2 to 5 years what other people don't, so you can have what other people won't, right? We're told that. So we do it for 5 years, and then we kind of go, okay, well, it's time for the beach, I guess. It's time for me to just show up and make an appearance. And part of us shrivels up because what started being all about us didn't transition to being all about others. Let me ask you something. If you have the ability to make $100,000 a year, let's say you're making $100,000 a year, and you have the ability to make $1 million, but you're good with $100,000. Is it okay to stay at $100,000? In my opinion, you can if you want to, but it's selfish. Because the paycheck here is a reflection of the number of lives that you're touching and the number of people that you're helping. On Wall Street, if you want to stop, because that's a destructive environment. But here it's a growth environment. So if you could, I think you should, and even if you don't want to have the money for whatever psychological reasons, give it away. It's just a scorecard of how many people you're helping. If you're making $1 million a year and you're really cool and you could be making $1 million a month, should you? Well, I'm good with my $1 million. Many of my $1 million earning friends, there's a little piece of themselves that's missing, and they don't quite know why. They're restless, they're uncertain, they don't know. There's got to be more than this, and they find themselves lost in this income without purpose. Because they're good. They're taken care of. Everything's fine. I should be fine. Everything's great. Let's go on vacation. Christmas is amazing. Oh my gosh, look at our dream house. And they realize real quickly that that's not what life is about. Life is about contribution. Life is about legacy. Life is about growth. Life is about passion. Life is about creation. So find that thing. Let me tell you this. If you go into a success coma, even if you're earning $1 million a year, and even if you have the pin, and even if you have the respect, you have the admiration, you will immediately start to lose respect if you go into a success coma. And pretty soon nobody will listen to you. You'll be a dinosaur. You'll be viewed as somebody who used to build, somebody who used to be a leader, but has stepped out of your leadership in order to be able to, quote unquote, retire. Entrepreneurs don't do that. Is there any more, or is that it? That's it. Here's the 10 deadly sins. There might be more. Probably is. But this is a good start, right? If you want to be an influencer. Now, I want to talk to you about some really important measurements. If we go a few minutes, I'm just going to let the people backstage know. I'm supposed to stop at 12, but I'm going to go a couple minutes after 12. Why? Because I can.
I must obey my master.
If you've been in business before, there's something called KPIs. Key performance indicators. These measurements inside of a business that drive everything. I want to give you some of the most important measurements for an influencer to be able to drive your organization. There's many things you can measure. You can measure number of recruits. You can measure number of customers. You can measure volume. You can measure sales. I want to give you these. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to make an invitation for those who are really ready to become an ultimate influencer. Something special that we do, that I want some of you, and not everybody in this room is going to be a candidate, but I want to make you aware of it. Key performance indicator. Number 1. $1. How many people in your organization are earning $1 or more and have earned $1 or more since they started? You want to hear something crazy? 70% of people who join network marketing never earn $1. They're just customers. Now, the ratios are changing like crazy because so many of you have people that are called distributors in your company that have never been a distributor, have never distributed anything. All they are is a customer. And many companies are changing that criteria in order to reflect what's a real customer and what is a distributor. So measuring the number of people who are earning within your organization, Darren Jensen helped me with this statistic. In the first 90 days, sign up month plus 90 days, if a person has not earned any commissions in network marketing, they have about 20% retention. 20% of those people are still active if they've earned 0. If they've earned $1, just $1 in the same time period, retention is 74%. 74% versus 20%. So how important is helping a brand new person earn $1? Do you have systems within your organization that help somebody earn a commission of any sort, of any size, as quickly as possible? You as an influencer need to influence this number in everything that you do, and it's a race. Number 2, core rank. Core rank. Every one of you has a rank within your organization. I'm going to give you some of the criteria and have you pick the rank. The criteria for this core rank, this is a position in your structure that you can achieve in 30, 60, 90 days, depending on your level of effort. It has some structure to it. Can't just get there just on retailing. It's got some distributors in there too. It's typically earning around $300 a month, somewhere in that range, maybe $300 to $500 a month for people who's qualified at that level. And it is a building block that you can build the entire building if you just build enough of those. Get that rank, get the next one, get the next one, get the next one. Get that in your mind? Now I want you to think about this, and we don't have a lot of time for me to train you on it, but this is one of the key metrics in the entire network marketing profession. You don't need to worry about Starfleet Commander. You don't need to worry about the triple diamond, ambassador. You don't need to worry about the number of distributors. What you need to worry about is how many people in your organization are qualifying for the first time each month in your organization at that rank. So here's what I need you to do with this. Number 1, put a huge spotlight on this rank. A huge spotlight. All the focus is there. All roads lead to that rank. All your recognition around it, all your rewards around it, all of your programs around it, all of your language around it. As soon as somebody joins, you put them on the roadmap to that rank. That's all you need to do. It's all you need to focus on. And then you go to your organization, your whole group, and say, who wants to go to this rank in the month of December? I'm going to spend personal time with you and help you achieve that goal. Everybody else, you get group time, and I'll see you in January. I'll ask you again. And they raise their hand, and you work with them personally. And if you have a big organization, you delegate and you divide that up. Everybody works with their group personally. You put a focus on this, and you will double or quadruple the number just by paying attention to it. And this is the measurement of everything. This is the health of your entire organization. If I'm working with you and you're a publicly traded company, guess what I want to know? How many people are qualifying at this core rank. What's been your historical number, month after month after month, if you can go back? And what is your plan to grow that number? That's all I need to know, because it'll drive everything else. Because if your core rank numbers is doing this month after month after month after month, no matter what you tell me, even if you got sales, even if you're making sales, you got a Black Friday, you got your promotions, you got all this exciting things, and everybody's fired up about the sales, that's great. But what's happening with the core rank? Because if it's not going, I'm not interested as an investor. You can control this number. Most of you don't have a very big number. Some of you aren't at the rank yet. You need to get that done. You need to celebrate that like crazy. Then you need to take inventory inside your team. Who wants to go? And then spend all of your time making that happen in the month of December, for example. And at the end of that month, guess what you're going to do? Recognize those people like crazy. Praise them. Tell their stories. Put it on Facebook. Congratulate them. Send them a certificate. Tell them you love them. And then what are you going to do? You're going to take inventory again. Here's the 14 people that got there last month, and here's how they did it. Who's ready to go now? And here's the mission when it comes to core rank. It needs to go up every month. Do you hear me? I don't care if it's December. I don't care if it's July or August. It needs to go up every month. That's when an influencer needs to show up. What is your game plan to make sure that number goes up in December? What is the number in November? If you don't know, you need to know. Create a game plan so it goes up in December. And then you go, most people just go, I got to take 3 months off. Then you got to come up with a game plan to make sure it goes up from that number in January. I don't care if it goes up 1, but it's got to go up. That's your job as an influencer, is to create a culture, training, environment, recognition, incentives, rewards, compensation that drives this metric. This metric drives everything. You want to be an influencer, you got to drive this metric like crazy. Next, convention attendance. From convention to convention, you've got to drive this number up on your team. You need to know how many people are attending your company event, and then what is your strategy? What is your game plan? If your company doesn't allow you to get 5 or 10 tickets, you must have a meeting with your company and say, we need the ability to sell 5 or 10 tickets to our people so we can get them committed early for the next event, even if it's at a discount. Please give us that tool. Work with that, because that number's got to grow. Some of you are out of alignment and you're outgrowing your supply lines. What I mean by that is you have more sales than you have influence. Events, conventions are where leaders are born. They're where leaders are born. If you don't get them there, the chances of them, how many leaders do you have that don't go to your conventions? They won't be leaders long if they don't go. Work with the company to make that experience amazing. Work with the company to give you the tools necessary to promote it. But ultimately, it's your job to make sure that that grows from convention to convention to convention to convention. You understand? Now, this is just some simple concepts, some simple KPIs. There's more. We don't have time to cover all of them today. But how many people want to be an influencer? Say aye. How many people are committed to being resourceful? Say aye. How many people are willing to invest in yourself to do it? Say aye. Now, we have an event that we do once a year. It's called Beyond Leadership. It is my favorite event of my life. It's for people who want to become an ultimate influencer. It is 5 days. It is a deep dive, and it is no joke. It's not for tourists. It's not for tire kickers. It won't force you to be successful, but it will give you the tools to be successful. Normally, we require that somebody make 6 figures a year to even get into the room. But I don't want to judge the level of your ambition with the level of your check right now. That's not for me to judge. This 5 days, we go deep on how to take inventory of your existing team. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What are your skills? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? We go deep on relationships downline, crossline, upline, relationships with company, relationships in family. We do a huge thing just on relationships, husband and wife, building in network marketing or not building in network marketing. There's a lot of conflict there. There's a lot of drama there. We spend a lot of time on it. We spend an entire day working on campaigns. I'm going to talk to you about some campaigns in our last session today. Campaigns to be able to create sales, to create rank advancement, to create ticket sales for convention, to create whatever. Campaigns are the secret of an influencer. They're the toolbox. To use a campaign to keep it exciting while still staying with the foundation of what you're doing in your business. We spend a whole day on it. We talk about strategy in detail. How many people were at the Beyond Leadership, this last one that we just did? Those of you? Give me a microphone real quick. Who's got it? Tell them, and then we have a VIP day, which is pretty intense, the 5th day, just for VIPs to be able to do this. And now this is not a $300 ticket, okay? This is $5,000 to go to this event for 5 days to change your life, okay? Now, we never discount this. The only time we do is one time a year here at this event, and it's only 10%. So it's $4,500 if you want to go. But give 15 or 20 seconds as to what this event does for you.
That was undoubtedly the best event that I've attended. And the best thing I actually did, Eric, was not go alone to that as well. Took five of my leaders with me. If you're a leader in this room, you can't miss it. It will take you to another level. And then the next best of advice I can take to you is don't go alone. Take some of your teammates with you because you're all going to be on the same thinking.
Yep. Nicola, you went also.
Yes. Well, it was absolutely amazing. What it did was allow us to go through our systems. It also allowed me to see what systems needed more tweaking, what was missing.
Spent a lot of time on systems.
We did, and that was so key. Even our getting started, the way we got started and the documents we used to use, I was able to go back and tweak them, make them shorter, and get people started faster, because that's important. You want to get people paid as soon as they get started. So for me, the systems, also the relationships. I was always, always showing appreciation to my corporate headquarters and things like that. But what it did was made me go even deeper in the people who helped to support our teams. And I did something that you asked us to do, which was to acknowledge some of the corporate staff. And I had asked a question just as simple as, what do they like? I know the key people. And they told me something that they meet on Fridays at a place called Panera Bread. Well, that was where I even learned about the opportunity. So that was like so heartfelt for me. So I sent them some gift certificates to Panera Bread. It was 5 of them. And I sent them $50 each. And one of them loves Starbucks, right? She sent me back a letter, the one who got the Starbucks one, and she said that she sat at her desk crying because she had had such a hard day that day, and when she got that from me, it meant so much. And I know I always check on her. She have issues with her baby and things like that. I would call or whatever, but that thing, when it showed up on her desk, her thinking that we're so busy, we're making all this money, and for us to acknowledge them, that was key. And just so many other things that I did implement. And I went back on a 90-day run. Ow! Yes.
Let me tell you this, and I'll have a few more people share their stories, but we limit this event to 400 people total. There's already 200 seats gone. from people who attended the last one. This is in August. If you have an interest in this, I would encourage you to move pretty quickly. And if you'd like to get a form to just see what it's about while you're hearing from this, just put your hands up and they'll get you a form, okay? Whoever would like to get a form. Who else you want to share? All right, cool.
So I can speak from the perspective of not six figures and jumping into the program. My husband and I went to the lunch where you said, if there's any doubt, don't do it. And we were both like, there's no doubt, because we know where we're going and we know who we want to surround ourselves with. And it gave us such a blueprint. And what I really love is, though our organization is growing and it's doing very, very well, I feel like we have this just elite framework that is so sturdy. We're not going to have to go back and clean anything up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's the structure that...
Once you have a structure, you can build on it. If you have a machine that is solid, then you could put your foot on the gas. But if the wheel's wobbling and falling off, then you can't. All right, who else was at the event? Yeah. Tell us, everybody, what's happened. We got to get some forms over here, too, by the way, on this side, if we can.
Yeah, so this event was the best event I ever attended. And for the last 3 years that I'm in the industry, I attended many of the events, but the strategies that we spoke about and the support and relationships, all those kind of things, it's I call it like all in one for
if you want to shorten up your learning curve, cut 3-4 years off of your learning curve, this is where you can do it in 4 or 5 days. That's the name of the game with it. So I want to make sure everybody gets what they need to get. Haas, let me throw it back to Haas. My buddy Haas. How you doing, pal? So you guys in a group of you attended this event. What happened since? What did you learn and what happened since?
Hi, everybody who was there. It's like a reunion. Love you guys.
Yeah.
We took back 1,000-page of notes, right? But we've implemented a lot of the campaigns that you recommended. Recruit 20 and 30.
Yep.
And we played it the way you recommended, doing it in different seasons, because my wife and I are involved in the business. So that was a huge win for us.
And your wife stepped up after the event. Big time.
My wife is, to me, the most amazing person in the world.
She is. She's better than you.
Completely. I think she ran away because she knew you were going to put her on a. So she had a huge breakthrough at this event, and I can't begin to tell everyone how proud I am of her, of the changes that she's made personally, and how she stepped up as a leader. But not only that, how she stopped dimming her light for me.
Isn't that the thing?
And it's just been amazing. And we owe it all to you and Marina, and everything that we learned in Beyond Leadership. And I can't recommend it enough.
Here's what I will tell everybody, and thank you, Haas.
You're welcome.
And those of you who shared your comments, and I know that there's 200 people that could do the same. We do this once a year. For companies, I will recommend to you, best $100,000 you could spend in your budgets is to come up with a contest where 20 people could win a seat into that event, because they'll come out there as powerful influencers, if that's something that you want to do in your budgets. For leaders, one of the fastest growing guys, he came by himself 2 years ago, flew from Estonia to come to this event 2 years ago. And then this year, he brought 18 people to this event. His growth went from $250,000 in income to $800,000 in income in 1 calendar year. He's on a trajectory to be over $1 million. He's bringing 100 people this time from his organization, all from Europe, all from Estonia and Finland and Latvia, these different places. So if it's a fit for you, what I hope is to see you there. And if it's not a fit for you right now, my hope is that you're getting so much in value here that it'll get you started until you're ready to become resourceful enough to be able to make something like that happen, okay? How many people have some value so far today? How many people have at least 11 pages of notes? All right, we have some amazing presenters coming up. John Maxwell is just about to come up on stage. He's going to be unbelievable. In the meantime, if you have questions about any of this stuff, whether it's GoPro Recruiting Mastery next year, Most Powerful Women, or Beyond Leadership, you can go to Resource Center here or up on top, and they'll take care of you, okay? I'll see you back in a little bit. Love you.
Ho! Get on your feet, let's make some noise, and we're gonna get ready to rock and roll! Alright, turn to your right, grab a set of shoulders and start to massage them a second. Come on, get it going, turn to your right,